So sentimental comedy, the dramatic genre of the 18th century, it's a kind of genre, sentimental comedy, it's a kind of genre which is played a vital role in 18th century. Okay. And he represented plays in which middle class heroes successfully overcome a series of moral trials. So that means difficulties and family issues, family matters of middle class persons also content or topic of the literary works of the 18th century literature. Such comedy meant it producing tears rather than laughter. Of course, sentimental comedy itself related to the tears rather than laughter. Rather than fun, it was mingled or related to with difficulties or tears of the middle class persons. And particularly, Sheridan's main object of writing plays was to provide entertainment to his audience, of course. But you know one thing, this Sheridan's this rivals also considered as, of course, even though it was not a autobiography, but it is considered true copy of Sheridan. That means rivals reflects his personal issues. Whose personal issues? R.B. Sheridan's personal issues. That is why the rivals is also called as the true copy of Sheridan. Okay. So next one is the newly revived and adopted comedy of Manners plays contained a moral embedded in highly sentimentalized drama or comedy. So that means sentimental comedy and sentimental comic items it related to the literature which were written by the R.B. Sheridan. Okay, next one is the play runs into 5 acts. This rivals, the play Rivals has 5 acts. You should remember it. And it was taken place in the city of Bath in England. City of Bath in England. So we can understand that the Rivals is one of the comedy of manners, the genre, literary genre related to the comedy of manners, which was written during the period of transition and particularly in the century, 18th century. And it is also reflects Sheridan's whole life so that it is called as a true copy of Sheridan. Okay. And you know one thing, this play has 5 parts. 5 parts. So it was first played in the Covent Garden Theatre in the year 1775. You should remember this year. The play Rivals, which was written by Sheridan, R.B. Sheridan, was first, what it is called, first premiered in the year 1775 in Covent Garden Theatre. It should remember. Okay. And the character of Sir Lucius was rewritten to meet the demands of the audience. The play presented the city of Bath in England. Yeah, the play, it was presented in city of Bath in England. But it looks like autobiographical of Sheridan, but it is not autobiographical. And the Rivals drew on Sheridan's experiences during his scandalous courtship of his wife, what he faced in his personal life, in his family, and particularly what is his personal experience with his wife. These kind of experiences described through this play, The Rivals by R.B. Sheridan. Okay, yeah, next one. Let us take what is the, this is the historical background of the Rivals. Anyway, what is the plot of the Rivals? The Rivals is a comedy of manners by Richard Brinsley Sheridan. Of course, in 5 acts, as I discussed now, this Rivals contains 5 acts. It was first performed, which was first performed in Covent Garden Theatre in 1775. The plot of the play is the Rivals concerns the romantic difficulties of Lydia Languish, who is determined to marry for love and into the poverty. Yeah, there was a leading character, Lydia Languish. She is the heroine or main character of the Rivals. She decides or determines to marry her lover. His name is Jack Absolute. So the between Lydia Languish and the Jack Absolute, the romantic situations and the difficulties, how they fell in love. After they fell in love, how they faced so many difficulties to get married. So this is the plot of the play Rivals. Of course, realizing this, the aristocratic captain Jack Absolute was her while claiming to be English Ensign Beverly. The play set in the 18th century in England, particularly the city of Bath. Bath society was much less exclusive than London. And of course, you know one thing, so many comedy of manners related to novels were set in London. These novels reflect the lifestyle of the London people, the family matters of the London people. And you know one thing, particularly women's characteristics, features, and behavior and their manners, so that these novels are called as genre of comedy of manners of the 18th century. So that means 18th century London life reflects through these novels. Those novels are called as comedy of manners. Okay, and that means entirely woman characters, woman behavior and lifestyle of London society in the 18th century has been described through these comedy of manners novels. Okay, the play set in the 18th century Bath society was much less exclusive than London. Yeah, of course. It was set for the characters of London women. The plot centers on the two young lovers like Lydia and Jack, Lydia Languish and Jack Absolute. Lydia, who reads a lot of popular novels of the time, yeah, there was a character, main character, Lydia Languish. Her habit is to read novels. So while she was reading many novels which were written by the various London authors or in England, so she got inspired from these characters, particularly in the matters of love affairs and particularly romantic perspective, right? So she wants a purely romantic love affair. Yeah, after she got read the novels, she also thought that, yeah, I want to love someone like that. To quote her, Jack presents to be Ensign Beverly, a poor army officer. Yeah, of course. There was another character, Ensign Beverly is a disguised character of the Jack Absolute. Lydia is enthralled with the idea of eloping with a poor soldier in spite of the objections of her guardian, Mrs. Malaprop. Of course, she was protected. She was looked after by Mrs. Malaprop. Mrs. Malaprop is another character. She's a old lady and widow. Mrs. Malaprop is it's a kind of character related to malapropism. Malapropism means one who acts as malaprop. Malaprop means which is not who tells many lies like that. Okay, so it's we can consider it is the Mrs. Malaprop character is the chief comic figure of the play. We can understand that she is also played a leading role in the play. Right. Let us discuss what is the first act in the play. That first act scene to explains that the act introduces deception through Thomas and Fogg. These Thomas and listen to me. First of all, Lydia Languish is the leading character. Her lover name is Jack Absolute. Please remember, Lydia Languish, Jack Absolute. The entire play describes the love affair or the romantic events between this Lydia Languish and Jack Absolute. Jack Absolute belongs to aristocratic family. He's a kind of dictatorship. Okay, dictatorial person. Right. Similarly, there were two servants. Servant's name is Thomas and Fogg. When Thomas works with Sir Anthony and Fogg works under Captain Jack Absolute. You know, Thomas was a servant of Sir Anthony. Anthony is another character. How many characters we have now? One is Lydia Languish. Another one is another one is Jack Absolute. Another third one is Mrs. Malaprop. Please remember all these characters. Lydia Languish, Jack Absolute, Mrs. Malaprop, and Thomas and Fogg. Thomas and Fogg are servants. Thomas is the servant of Sir Anthony. Sir Anthony is another character. Yeah, you should remember all these characters. And Sir Anthony is the servant of, Sir Anthony's servant is Thomas, and Fogg is the servant of Captain Jack Absolute. Captain Jack Absolute is the hero, we can understand. He is the hero of the play, right? And, you know, Jack Absolute was compelled by the peculiar temperament and inclinations to his sweetheart Lydia Languish to disguise as a poor ensign of a humble origin. So that means he resembles that in the name of the poor ensign of a humble origin. That ensign, what is his full name? Ensign Brinsley. Ensign Brinley. So he, who Jack Absolute wanted to disguise as another poor person, that is on the name ensign of Brinsley, ensign of Brinsley, right? His ready wit and sense of humor is impeccable in the play. That means ensign Brinley is another wit person. Wit is means who makes frequently fun. Fogg tells Thomas and Fogg are both are servants. Thomas is the servant of Sir Anthony, and Fogg is the servant of Sir Absolute, Jack Absolute. Yes.
Ensign Beverly is a character or he's or a servant?
Actually, yeah, of course, disguised person is not actually he himself, Sir Jack Absolute is himself Ensign Brinley. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, yeah, Ensign Beverly is Jack Absolute in disguise and confides the Thomas that Absolute is in to reach. Okay. That means he wanted to pretend as another person because actually Jack Absolute belongs to aristocratic family. By birth, he is a rich person, but he wanted to disguise as a poor person as a Ensign Beverly. Okay. And one more thing, she's a girl of Miss Lydia Languish, who would prefer to marry men who are poor. Actually, Lydia Languish wanted to marry only poor person. That is her goal. That is her romantic goal, of course, in her life. So she is a girl of a singular or odd taste. She has a different kind of taste. Yes.
Leda Languish wants to marry who are poor to rich, sir, or only poor?
Only poor, only poor.
Okay.
So, but Jack Absolute is the rich person, no? So that he dismissed as a ensign Beverly. Okay. So first listen to me. After completion of the lesson, just you read once, then you can understand, because it will repeat the characters. No, then only we can understand. And by reading at a time and by reading first and foremostly, we will get, of course, confusion, because all the characters are like zigzag and new names. We never heard this kind of names, so that there is a chance to get a little bit confusion. But after completion of this class, try to read once, then you can understand properly and easily, right? So anyway, Lydia Languish, what is her habit? She reads more novels. Of course, she had read also more novels which were written by the London authors, on the basis of the London authors. So Lydia romance novels from various circulating libraries. She, what it is called, she brought so many novels to read, particularly a kind of romantic novels. Okay, love-based novels. Okay, so after she fell in love with Jack Absolute, she wanted to marry him. When she tells this news to her guardian is nothing but Mrs. Malafraf, she denies her proposal. That means she does not agree to marry Lydia, to marry Jack Absolute. So the Malafraf is also, it's a leading character. Particularly, a Malafraf is in love with an Irish aristocrat. See, she also fell in love with an Irish aristocrat. Of course, there are so many, what it is called, love stories in these novels. Okay, even though she is a widow, she is an old lady, she also falls in love with another person, that is an Irish aristocrat. And that she is carrying on a correspondence with him under the assumed name of Delia or Celia. So these are the Irish names, another names. Okay, Irish persons, another names like Delia or Celia. And Mrs. Malafraf insults Lydia for wanting to marry an impoverished man. So when she says, when she reveals her ambition or desire, whatever she wanted to marry Jack Absolute, Lydia Languish insults her to Lydia. Sorry, Mrs. Malaprap insults to Lydia, how you are going to marry him like that, and she laughs at her. Okay, so anyway, her funny manner of illustrating points and her whole theory of education and malapropisms, her incorrect use of words. Malapropism means incorrect use of words. One who does not speak proper language or proper words, that is called malapropism. But this word came into force with the character of Mrs. Malafrap. Okay, so her incorrect words and adds to the comical sense of the play. When she speaks some words, since she does not speak those words properly, automatically this kind of conversation will produce some sense of the comic. So that is why the comedy of manners. That is why these kind of characters, themes, and plots, on the basis of these characters, plots, and themes, these novels named as comedy of manners. Okay. Mrs. Malaprop is one of the most popular caricatures in English drama. Caricatures means like characters which gives some fun to the audience. And you know that there are caricature programs in televisions also, which gives so much of fun to the children. Okay. So similarly, this Malaprop is one of the most popular caricatures in English drama. And another character, that Sir Anthony, is a dictatorial aristocratic character. He is also aristocratic family, belongs to the aristocratic family. Who is Sir Anthony? Okay. And Jack Absolute also belongs to aristocratic family. And another character, Sir Anthony, is also belongs to a dictatorial aristocratic character who becomes a source of comedy with his wit. That means we can understand Sir Anthony is also a wit and comedy person. He is a healthy old man with a lot of zest for life. So that means the characters are the names of the characters in the play of Sheridan's The Rivals deals with the London society. We can understand these characters reflect London society characters, okay, of the 18th century. That means during the period of transition, right? Another scene, another act is Act 2. Scene 1 reveals that in this act, Jack Absolute and Falkland discuss the love affairs. There is another character, Falkland. Falkland is a kind of friend of Jack Absolute, who is the leading character. Once in the act, scene 1, when they meet each other, discuss with their love affairs. Who and who? Jack Absolute and Falkland. Falkland, Falkland. They both discuss their love affairs. And you know, Falkland says that how he get tension, how he get fear about her lover's health and safety. His beloved name is Julia. Falkland's lover name is Julia. About her, he gets some tension. He worries about her. He worries about his lover, Julia, and Julia's health and safety. So these kind of matters will discuss with his friend Jack Absolute. Similarly, Jack Absolute also shares his lover's issues or matters to Falkland. That means we can understand they both are friends, right? So Falkland's extreme sensitivity is also reflective of the sentimental novels of the time. So what the Falkland extreme sensitivity, that means he gets worry frequently and he gets tension towards her lover Julia. So these kind of sensitive issues also one of the themes of sentimental novels of the time. Time means in the 18th century. He is an eccentric kind of lover who is portrayed as an over-sentimental lover. Yeah, you know one thing, sometimes in movies also there will be, we can see there are so many characters like comic heroes, like comedy characters. Similarly, Falkland also so much sentimental character and is a so much sentimental lover in the play of The Rivals of Sheridan. And you know one thing, his perpetual suspicion on his lover makes him more farcical than comical. Yeah, she is also used to suspect her lover, whether she is loving her truly or not. and whether she is loving any other person except me. Like that, he used to think like that. And it is also caused to like more farcical than a comical. Farcical means it's a kind of seriousness. Okay. And an over sentimental, of course, Bob Akers is another character. Yeah, how many characters we have discussed now? First one is Lydia Languish is the heroine. Another one is Jack Absolute. Another one is Sir Anthony. And like Mrs. Malaprop is the aunt of Lydia Languish or guardian of the Lydia Languish. And there are two another characters that what it is called Fogg and Thomas. These are two servants of Sir Anthony and Jack Absolute. Another character is Falkland. Falkland and Jack Absolute in Act 2, Scene 1, they will discuss about their lover matters, their lovers matters. Like Falkland's lover name is Julia. Okay. He used to think about Julia, and he also used to get tense or a worry how she was about her Julia's health and safety frequently. Okay, another character is Bob Akers, the man whom Lydia declined to marry. Yeah, actually, Lydia Languish wanted to marry Jack Absolute, but once the character Bob Akers proposes to Lydia Languish, that Bob Akers also wanted to marry Lydia Languish, but after when she heard this proposal by Bob Akers, immediately she rejects or she declines his proposal, whatever that Bob Akers wanted to marry Lydia Languish. Right. The suspicion over Julia heightens with this. Bob Akers challenges Jack and Falkland that he shall win Lydia Languish. Yeah, when Bob Akers meet this kind of character that Jack Absolute and Falkland, he also discusses this matter. He reveals his desire that he wanted to marry Lydia Languish, and he challenges, because actually initially Lydia Languish is the lover of Jack Absolute. So when, excuse me, 1 second. Yeah. So Bob Akers also fell in love with Lydia Languish, so that when he meet her, to Lydia Languish, he proposes her that he wanted to marry. He reveals his desire that whatever he wanted to marry Lydia Languish. But after heard this, Lydia Languish declines his proposal. After she declined his proposal, he went to the Jack Absolute and Falkland, and he challenges that I will marry Lydia Languish at any cost. So like that, that challenge also reveals at Jack Absolute and Falkland. Okay. And back from insane bewildery with his improved grooming sense, Sir Lucius easily is tricked by the maid servant Juicy. So that means another characters also is there. Of course, Sir Lucius and Lucy, who tells him that the love letters which she brought for him have been sent by the 17-year-old niece of Mrs. Malaprop. This Malaprop also brings some love letters from others to Lydia Languish, because Lydia Languish is a pretty and beautiful girl. So that when she was at Mrs. Malaprop home, she brings some love letters from various persons. So Jack objects politely saying that he is in love. Sir Anthony leaves fuming. Fox gets to know that Sir Absolute selected Lydia Languish to court Jack. So, see, when Miss Malaprop brings some letters to Lydia Languish from others who loves Lydia Languish since she is a beautiful and pretty girl, this was, of course, obviously objected by the leading character Jack Absolute that I love, he says with Malaprop also that I love Lydia Languish, so that don't bring this kind of letters, so that, and Fogg gets to know that her Sir Absolute selected Lydia Languish to court Jack. Fogg runs to what it is called to his master to inform the same. So when Fogg also knows this kind of a love story of Lydia Languish and Jack Absolute, he immediately run to his master. His master is none other than Sir Anthony, and he reveals these kind of issues that about Miss Malaprop's letters, bringing letters, and Jack Absolute's love towards Lydia Languish. So anyway, this information was given by Fogg to his master, Sir Anthony. Absolute is similar to Sheridan himself, who concealed from his own brother that he loved and was courting the same woman, Elizabeth Linley. You know one thing, at the beginning, as I said, this is not autobiography of the Richard Brinsley's Sheridan's autobiography, but it looks like autobiography, so that it is considered and called as the true copy of the Sheridan. That means in this novel or in this play, Jack Absolute is similar to Sheridan himself, nothing else. Because Jack Absolute is the hero, protagonist of the play. That means we can understand Jack Absolute is the none other than it is similar to Sheridan himself. That means his personal experiences, his personal matters wrote on the name of the play, that the Rivals. And you know, who concealed from his own brother that he loved and was courting the same woman, Elizabeth Linley. Yeah, his brother, Sheridan's brother, in real life, brother is what it is called. He loved a person in real life, that Elizabeth Linley, so that he wrote this kind of play. Who wrote Sheridan? Okay, anyway, this is what it is called romantic love story of Lydia Languish and Jack Absolute. This is all the novel describes about their romantic love story and difficulties, how they faced to get married themselves, each other. This is the story which was written by Richard Brinsley Sheridan. Yeah. Did you understand anything?
Yes, sir.
Actually, this story you read once and twice, because if you read more and more only you can understand. There are so many zigzag characters in this novel. But once you understand, you don't forget. But you read once and twice. And hope probably this is the last online class. Maybe you have offline classes also. I don't know that. But if you have any doubt, and of course we did not complete at least 25 to 30%. But the thing is, there is another stories also, modern drama and the Pygmalion, which was written by George Bernard Shaw. If you want, I will explain in the through WhatsApp, whatever we have the source, that through WhatsApp I will explain later. Okay. If you have any doubt, please text me through WhatsApp. I will also explain through WhatsApp. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah, you can leave now.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Screenshot. Screenshot. వచ్చేసింది